Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about 50 types of authentic sushi in Japan.
So watch to the end and tell us how many you knew.
Let's do this.
So the first one is Kinmedai.
This is a very good fish. It's slightly fatty and the meat is very soft, and I think the flavor is very unique.
And yeah, look at the color, it's really nice, right? And maybe this is the most major one, but I like it. Next, Namasaba.
This is a very fatty fish. It has a sort of melt in your mouth, smooth as butter flavor, and the fish is actually pretty rich, right?
Yeah, I never had this as raw before, but it was very good. It has unique taste to it too. Next, salmon.
This fish is one that we probably don't have to tell you about because I'm sure you're well aware. But the fish they have for salmon in Japan is very juicy.
Yeah, if you come to Japan and order it, don't say salmon, just say salmon.
Thanks for the tip, Akina.
Next, Akagai.
This shellfish is very good. It has a sort of slightly bitter, slightly sweet flavor to it, and it's crisp to the mouth. Do you like this one, Akina?
I love this thing, but it's sometimes difficult to find this one at sushi shop, so if you see one, just get it and try it. Next, Buri.
This fish is so juicy. I think there's actually some other versions of the fish depending on the age, which can be a bit fattier, but this piece is very juicy, very nice.
I like this one a lot too. This is good as sushi, this one is good also as grilled. Next is Anago.
Anago is actually ocean eel, and it might feel a bit strange to eat eel meat, but I actually learned to love this one. It just has a very unique flavor, and it has a nice sauce.
Yeah, the sauce is kind of like teriyaki sauce if you imagine. It's kind of soy sauce based and also sweet. And this one's got really big meat, so I bet you loved it, huh?
I did love it, yeah.
So next, uni.
Uni is the sea urchin, and you probably heard of this one before. It's got a very creamy, rich flavor, very unique, and just kind of buttery. How do you explain it, Akina?
I don't know, it's so unique, so you just have to try it, I guess.
Yeah, although it tends to be a bit expensive.
It's one of those sushis you have to pay to get good one. It's so easy to see the difference of the quality, so if you have a chance, try to pay a little bit more than conveyor belt sushi place. So next, Ikura.
Ikura is the salmon egg or salmon roe, and when you bite in, it's got a sort of explosion of flavor, like a salmon essence. It's very good. It took a little getting used to, but I like it. What about you, Akina?
I like it a lot too. The texture is very, pops in your mouth, so this is pretty popular for kids too. Next, Geso.
Now, Ika means squid, and this is a part of the squid, right, Akina?
Yeah, Geso means legs of octopus or squids.
Yeah, so basically it means tentacles, and this might look weird, but I think it's pretty good. It has a tare soy sauce on it, and it has a very soft texture compared to what it might look like.
Yeah, it feels really nice on your teeth, kind of crispy and nice mixture with rice. Now let's talk about tunas. The next one is Akami.
Yes, Akami is the least fatty tuna. It's very red, and it's probably the one you've had the most. It's usually in sushi sets, and I think it's a very good one, although it's not my favorite. I like to start with it.
Yeah, Akami actually means red meat, so this one doesn't have any fat to it. So if you are on a diet or something, maybe you can survive on it. Next, Chutoro.
Chutoro is actually the medium fatty tuna, and this is one of our faves, right, Akina?
Yeah, like Akame is too little fat, and the next one, Otoro, is too much fat sometimes. So actually, I think this is the most well-balanced one to me.
Yeah, it has a nice balance between the flavor and the fattiness, and it's just very good, and you can see this one here was totally delicious.
Next, Otoro.
Otoro is one of the ones you might see a lot on YouTube. This is that really fatty one, the melt in your mouth one, and this is good from time to time. It can be a bit expensive, but I do like it a lot.
I like it too, but the thing is that this is so fatty, so sometimes I feel like this is too fatty. So I'll be happy with only like a one. Next, Negitoro.
Negitoro is the minced tuna meat, and it has spring onions inside, and it's sort of softer, I think, compared to the other tunas. It's just very nice, soft, fatty, and it also tends to be cheaper. But do you like it, Akina?
I like it a lot. This one is one of the easiest to make at home too, so if you want to do home sushi, then this is a good one. Next, Maguro Natto.
This is the Akami meat, and it's actually put together with some fermented soybeans called Natto, which tend to be a bit sticky and kind of have a strong flavor. I think in general, foreigners don't like this one. It took me a while to get used to the Natto.
Yeah, this is really a good combination actually. It might feel weird, but if you have open mind, maybe you find something new, right? Next, Kohada.
Kohada looks visually interesting. This fish is marinated and it's slightly tough with a vinegar aftertaste. I think it's a very good one if you get it at a good restaurant. What do you think, Akina?
Yeah, these kind of marinated things can be difficult because some places overly do it and too vinegarish, but the place we go does it really well, so I like it. Next, Tobiko.
Tobiko is the small fish egg. It kind of looks a little bit like Ikura, but these small fish eggs do not have the juice explosion of flavor. They're a little bit different.
Yeah, this is the one used in California roll. If you see red tiny dots on the roll in America, that's probably it's Tobiko. Next, Kani salada.
Which is basically imitation crab meat in a mayonnaise-based salad. It's pretty good. Maybe it's a little bit more to a Western taste.
Yeah, to be honest, it feels kind of slightly weird for me to have mayo and rice, but some people do like the combination, so I don't know. Next, Houbou.
This fish looks very cool. It almost looks like a tiger or something, but the actual fish itself I think doesn't taste as good as it looks. It's kind of soft and chewy, but the flavor's pretty subtle. What do you think, Akina?
Yeah, I probably wouldn't really recommend to those who haven't tried it.
Yeah, but if you want something new that most people haven't tried, it's worth giving it a go.
Next, Mirugai.
This is a shellfish-based sushi, and it's got a slight firmness, but overall it's pretty soft compared to the other shellfish, and it has a fishy flavor.
I think this is too soft as a shellfish for my liking, so I probably prefer the other ones.
Yeah, I think some of the other ones have a very hard texture, which you do have to get used to, but I've come to like a lot, so we'll see some of those later.
Next, Menegi.
Now, menegi is sort of like young spring onion sprouts, and these are so fresh, so delicious, and sometimes they serve it with ume paste on the top.
Yeah, and the place we usually go also hides some bonito flakes in it, so that combination is like really good.
This is basically a palate cleansing sushi, and it's just very fresh, especially when you have it after some really rich fish. So for us, it's one of the must-have sushis.
Next, Hirame.
Hirame is soft and juicy and somewhat chewy, and it is, I guess, somewhat plain overall, though I think it's not my favorite. Akina, do you like it?
I like it actually. This is plain in general, but that's kind of like a charm. And this is also good as stewed as well. Next, ebi.
Ebi is basic shrimp. It's just the standard shrimp that you've probably had in your own country quite a bit. Ebi is very good. I think in Japan they do tend to have bigger pieces, but do you like ebi, Akina?
I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of ebis, to be honest.
I would say I love the shrimps in Japan. It's just sometimes if they're overcooked, they're not good. So I would say this one you're seeing here is one of the good ones.
Next, amaebi.
Now, ama ebi is a special kind of shrimp. It's a different species, and this to me is delicious. I love ama ebi. It has a sort of sweet flavor to it, but at the same time, it's kind of starchy.
Yeah, it actually literally means sweet shrimp. So that's why, I guess. Next, kurumaebi.
Now this looks similar to the standard ebi when it's cooked, but actually the flavor of this one is more like a lobster, and I would say it's delicious. I do like it better than the standard ebi.
This one's supposed to be one of the good ingredients in Japanese food, and if you stay in Japanese style ryokan, then you might see as grilled or steamed as well. Next, namasakura ebi.
These are very small shrimps that are stacked on top of the sushi. They're pre-marinated in soy sauce, and there's just a soft crunchiness from all the shells. I would say most people might find it a bit strange, but I did like it.
For me, the shells are too hard, and it might just sting inside of my mouth, so I don't really like it. Next, sazae.
This shellfish is extremely firm and pretty tough, and it takes a lot of chewing. The flavor's kind of fishy, and there's a slight bitterness. Did you like it, Akina?
Yeah, I like it, but I think I prefer as grilled with soy sauce in it rather than as sushi.
Yeah, the extreme firmness is nice to try, but I think usually I wouldn't want it because it's just too much work to chew into it.
Next, Aji.
Now, aji is one of my faves. It has a very strong fish flavor, and it's typically served with some ginger paste on the top, so in that way, it's very different from other sushis.
Yeah, this one is widely available, even as a supermarket sushi too, but I like it quite a lot, even as a supermarket sushi.
It's one of those ones that's hard to mess up, so I feel like even if you have a cheap one or a more expensive one, it's always good.
Next, wasabi maki.
Now this is made with real wasabi, not the horseradish stuff, but the real root vegetable that grows in streams. And this is just very unique, and I think it's a rare one to come across, but if you ever have the chance, you definitely gotta try it.
Yeah, sometimes it's really spicy, sometimes not, so it's kind of like Russian roulette kind of thing, but
It's just got a nice fresh but spicy and almost floral flavor to it, so I think we both love this one.
yeah, this is really refreshing. Next, Ika.
Yes, Ika, aka just the standard squid. This one is very common, and sometimes I get it and I really love it. Other times I get it, I don't.
Yeah, I think it really depends on the place again. Sometimes it's too chewy, almost eating like a chewing gum.
Yeah, but if you can get a soft one, it's just so good. It has an almost starchy, chalky kind of flavor, which sounds weird, but
It could taste like a milky too if you get a good one.
yes, exactly.
Next, taco.
AKA the octopus. Now, sometimes I have the octopus, it's very chewy. If it's prepared well, just like the Ika, it's very soft and very good, and it has a unique flavor.
Yeah, and if you try Ika and taco just next to each other, you might be surprised how different they are, although the concept is similar. Like, taco has a really unique taste to it compared to Ika, and that's why we Japanese like taco a lot. Next, hotate.
Hotate is one of the classics. That's scallop, and for me, this is one of the first sushis I really started to love. If you get a good one, it's just so juicy and plump. You bite into that raw scallop, and it's just really one of the good ones.
If you get good one, then the chances is that scallop is super fat, super big, and that gives you more enjoyment of biting into it. Next, hamachi.
Now, this is the younger version of Buri, which we had earlier in the video, and I guess it's pretty similar to that one. Not too fishy, but it's a bit fattier than the Buri, and I think it's a really good one. Do you like it, Akina?
Yeah, I love this one, and if you can't remember the name of the fish, just remember as how much. That probably works. Next, tai.
Tai is a very common fish that you do see a lot in sushi sets. I think it just got a sort of standard white meat flavor to it for fish. It does have a bit of a graininess to it sometimes, which I think I have to get used to, but I overall do like this one a lot. Do you like it, Akina?
Yeah, I like it as a chaser sushi. So I would have something like kind of strong ones like fatty tuna or something, then have it this one so that my palate wouldn't be too tired of tastes. Next, awabi.
Awabi is a very interesting shellfish. It's quite firm, on the verge of being crunchy, but when you bite into it, it has a subtle salty flavor, just like the ocean.
Yeah, this one's really, really good, and we never miss it at sushi restaurant these days. This is a nice combination of the texture and nice taste to it. And this is one of the most expensive ones, but there's a reason to be expensive, you know? Next, shimesaba.
Now this is just a big chunk of fish that's marinated in vinegar. It's got a bit of a sweet, unique flavor, and I think I've had it in the past and didn't like it.
Yeah, some places do it too vinegary, right?
Yeah, they do, but this one we're having here, the video you see, it's so good.
Yeah, when it's too vinegary, then it feels like almost rotten or something, so it
Yeah.
doesn't feel good. But if you get a good one, then you'll know the place is really good. Next, kampachi.
Now this is the same fish that we showed for Buri and hamachi, it's just that this is the youngest version, and in this case, this is actually the fattiest version.
Yeah, and the meat is probably the most crisp too.
Yeah, I would say it is pretty crisp with a subtle flavor. I think in a way you could compare it to Chutoro with a bit less of a fish flavor.
Actually, kampachi is the favorite out of kampachi, hamachi, and buri for me. Next, kani miso.
Now this is sometimes called crab butter sushi in English, and it does sound kind of weird, and it definitely looks really weird and maybe even disgusting, but I learned to love this sushi.
This is almost like lobster bisque, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, especially this one you see here, they got pieces of real crab meat plus the crab butter.
Yeah, so this one is nice to be followed by menegi kind of thing.
Yeah, you need a nice palate cleanser after this one because it's so rich and delicious.
Next, Iwashi.
Iwashi has a mild fishy flavor with a fattiness, kind of like Chutoro. The meat is very soft, overall quite good. What do you think?
Yeah, this is supposed to be one of the cheap ones, but I would say this is pretty cost effective. Next, Hokigai.
Here is another shellfish, and it's got a slight bitter taste, but it's very soft, not too chewy, and it's got kind of a fishy flavor. Do you like it, Akina?
I love this. It's kind of difficult to see this one in the shop, but if you see it, I would recommend to try it.
Yeah, it might look a bit weird, but I think as far as shellfish are concerned, this is probably one of the best.
Next, umeshisomaki.
This has the ume pickled plum paste, which is salty and very sour, and it's also got the shiso, which is a Japanese herb, which is kind of minty.
Yeah, this is like one of the classics, and I love it. This shop had some sesame seeds on it, right?
Yeah, the sesame seeds actually help to kind of calm down that ume flavor, which otherwise might be a bit overpowering.
Next, tsubudai.
This is a bit similar to the awabi that we showed earlier, but it's a little bit more chewy, less salty, and more sweet, and it has a stronger fish flavor to it. Do you like it?
I love it. And this is slightly cheaper than awabi, so that helps, right?
Yeah.
Next, aorika.
Now this is another type of squid, and it's just a different species, but I think compared to the other squids, this is very milky and kind of creamy, and I love this one very much.
Yeah, if you're tired of fish, then you should try this. Next, namashirasu.
Now I guess this is called white bait in English, but it's basically a bunch of very small fish that are stacked on top of rice.
You like it, right?
Yeah, I think for me, I can taste the flavor of the ocean with this one, and you can taste the individual bodies of the fish, which to me is a bit different from other ones.
For me, I prefer a big chunk of meat. Next, tachiuo.
This fish is kind of the most standard of all fishes we've had. I think it has a special meaning, right?
It means swordfish.
Yeah, I would say that name makes it sound pretty good, although the actual flavor is just a bit salty, low on the fish flavor, and actually it's kind of dry.
Yeah, maybe not my favorite. Next, shako.
This is a type of shrimp. It actually tastes similar to the other shrimp meats, but it's a lot more tough, and it's covered usually in a sweet sauce.
This is probably one of those sushis you don't want to see when it's alive.
Yeah, I get the impression that this is a shrimp that grew up in a bad neighborhood and you don't want to mess with it, but the actual flavor of it is pretty good.
Next, kappamaki.
Also known as the cucumber sushi roll. Now this is one of the ones that's easily available in America, so to me it never really seemed very exotic. I didn't really even want to try it in Japan. But this sushi is very good. Somehow the rice quality is better, and the way that they just put the roll together with that is a very good one.
Next, kazunoko.
This is a cluster of fish eggs that comes together and it kind of sticks together in one piece. It's got a subtle, interesting texture, kind of soft but kind of crunchy. I would say it's probably weird as a foreigner, but it does grow on you. The first few times I had it, I did not like it, but recently I've started to like it. Do you like it, Akina?
I like it a lot because of the texture, and something crunchy, I tend to like it. Next, isaki.
Now this here is a huge chunk of meat. It's kind of chewy and very juicy. Medium fish flavor overall, but nothing worth writing home about. Do you like it?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to remember what it was like, to be honest.
Yeah, I would say just a very generic flavor of a fish, and I think it's not my favorite, but you might want to try it out.
Next, kampyo-maki.
Now this is a preserved gourd that they cut into strips, and the flavor of this gourd is actually pretty sweet, and I love this kind of sushi. It's just got a nice kind of crunchiness to it with that kampyo, and I do feel like it kind of tastes fruity or kind of like healthy in a way.
Well, for me, I'm happy with only like 1 or 2 pieces. Next, sawara.
Yeah, sawara is another one of these generic fish. Light on the flavor, not too fishy, kind of plain, not too dry, not too juicy, just very middle of the road.
Yeah, probably this is just as good as a variety to try. Next, inaridoshi.
Now this one is one of the ones we do have in America. It's kind of on the sweet side, so to me it almost feels like a dessert. But it's basically rice that's been put inside of a tofu pocket, and then do they deep fry that or not?
Yeah, this is basically tofu deep fried soaked in sweet sauce. In fact, this fried sweet tofu is supposed to be the favorite of fox god, hence it's called inari sushi. Next one is tamago.
Yes, tamago is egg sushi, although it's more of a tamago yaki, so it's usually kind of sweet. They sort of put some sugar or something in there. And this one's one I tend to also have at the end of a sushi set.
Yeah, this one is actually could go deep as well. Some places are really specialized in tamagoyaki. So, which one did you like the most? Let us know in the comment section.
Also, feel free to subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about food in Japan and everyday life here.
See you in the next video.